Buongiorno, everyone. Welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. We're here for the live match preview with our guest with a lovely face, Louis Beneventi. It's always a pleasure to see you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Lovely face. You see, this thing, whenever
I always enjoy seeing your face. It always makes me smile.
I enjoy seeing you, Keg, mate.
Cheers, man.
Ever since we had that night out in Manchester that just went
yes,
incredibly messy, it's like we've had a special bond, and I love it.
Yeah.
So good. Everyone else was trailing back, me and you at the front, just going for it. It's brilliant.
I was on a charge trying to drag everyone around Manchester, thinking I knew the way. I was getting tips from everyone, like, where's good to go around here? And, like, I was like, everyone, follow me. I've got expressions. I've got everyone like leading the way. Follow me a club where I thought was good, and it was absolutely dead, and everyone went home. So
I think it was the free.
I ruined the night.
It was the free bevs that did everyone in that night. It was brilliant. I loved it.
It was good. I remember getting you, Chris Cowlin, and Harvey from Crystal Palace shots of tequila at the bar.
Oh God, that was
that was a bad idea. Yeah,
that was that. I think that's when I went over the. Was either quite early on or quite late. If it was the later one, that was definitely I think that's when I tipped over the edge. After you guys beat me to the FBA, that's when I got 3 Carlings at the table, and then the night just went black. That's it. I don't remember much else.
It was a good night. Hopefully we'll have a few more once all this shitstorm's done.
100%.
But for now, we're here to talk about Newcastle United and Chelsea Football Club. We'll start with managerial talk for now, because you've just had a change lately, and I know you were a big Lampard in advocate, so you weren't very happy about that. But Thomas Tuchel's in now. You've done okay. Was it 4 games unbeaten for now? 1 goal conceded. Are you happy with the appointment? Are you getting to grips with Frank being out?
I mean, look, for me, obviously, it was when Lampard left. That's kind of, for me personally, when I drew the line in terms of Chelsea managerial changes. I didn't really want to get close to a coach again. You know, I had, for me personally, huge affiliations, you know, with Mourinho, with Antonio Conte, Frank Lampard, you know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, fool me 3 times. I'm kind of there. At that point, I'm like, right, I have a 3 and out rule in life. So I just couldn't go there again. So I'm like, look, he's doing a good job. I think, look, we can't really moan. It's very early stages. One qualm I have is the football is all very much painting Mona Lisa's smile, and we haven't come up against a real challenge yet in terms of a top 6 opponent. Now, people thought Tottenham would be that, but, you know, they rolled over and let's tickle their belly, to be honest. So I think, look, the Thomas Tuchel's doing a great job. We're very close to top 4. Now, people were losing their head. So, earlier on when we were with Frank, you know, saying, "Oh my God, we're so far away from top 4. We're 9th," and then we've won a few games and we're already back up there. So, you know, it just went to prove that this league is so topsy turvy at the minute. You know, you don't really know what's going to go on. But look, you know, Frank Lampard's gone. We move on. Unfortunately, that's the mentality you've got to have. It's like, you know, I think unfortunately with Chelsea managers, no matter how tentative it is almost a friends with benefits scenario every single time. So you can't get attached. Okay, you can't. There are rules to this game. So look, we just have to move on, and, you know, hope Thomas Tuchel lasts more than 18 months.
I wish we could unattach. I wish we could swap. Well, there's no attachment around Newcastle, I'll tell you that.
Oh no, I remember you saying when we did the last preview. Because I thought Bruce was doing a good job for you. Like, I looked at it, it's like, it's not terrible. Like, he's doing all right. And then since then, it's just nosedived. Like, it's just it's a plane. It's basically that missing plane. It's a Malaysian Airlines. It's just disappeared. It's just that everything's just fallen apart. And I just don't get it. I mean, you lot are also happy-go-lucky. It's a shame to see you all miserable.
I remember discussing that in the last preview we did. Like, me and Matty were down and bleak. Like, obviously, from an outsider's perspective, like, we know on paper it looks okay. Steve Bruce is getting the results. It wasn't too bad in the table. So we were telling you how bad it was. Then you came on for the fan cam afterwards. And I know you didn't mean to say it, but you were like, you're just not good at anything.
It was true, though.
And we're like, no, we fucking know. It's okay.
It's just watching it. It's like you've got one bright spark. You've got Alan Saint-Maximin, who I love him. He's that one bright spark I see in your team, and then it's just like it's null and void. And then obviously you had you signed a lot of good players in the summer, so I was kind of there going, oh, do you know what? Like those are pretty solid signings. You know, Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson. You know, I looked like he's filled in the right positions. He knows where the weaknesses lie, and he's gone to replace that. But it's just shite. There's a reason you last on Match of the Day most of the time. It's just boring to watch Newcastle.
It is. I don't know if you've seen any of the last 3 games, but we've had a change in our coaching stuff as well. Graham Jones has come in from Bournemouth and completely changed things up. We've stopped playing horribly negative like we have done over the last 18 or so months. Well, last 3 games, 2-0 win at Everton. We lost to Crystal Palace, but we played really, really well. We were the better team by miles, probably the best we've played all season, and got nothing from it. And we won 3-2 against Southampton with 9 men. So it's been an improvement since Graham Jones has come in. Have you caught any of the last few games? Have you seen a change?
I watched the Southampton game because that was the last one where Ward-Prowse banged that free kick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I watched that one, and it looks a bit more expansive. But the problem is, it's looking more expansive, but you're looking more susceptible to conceding goals, which then makes you more likely to lose points. Whereas I felt that the problem you had under Bruce previously was you just, like I said, you weren't good at anything, but you did look kind of solid. So it's one where it's like, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the two worlds collide. I think that's it. I think you'll be okay this year. I just think there are 3 teams worse than Newcastle. But I think it's just a case of finding the balance now. Because Newcastle are a club. I often sort of sit here and I when teams say they deserve to be in divisions, when Leeds fans are saying we deserve to be here, Liverpool, we deserve to be here. There's no teams I really feel deserve to be anywhere. That's kind of a rule of thumb I have. But Newcastle are a team which, as you know, I have a very big soft spot for. So I'm kind of a bit like...
That's why I will love you, Louis.
It's like Everton and Newcastle. Everton's like a family thing, but Newcastle, it was just you guys, and obviously going to the city and how nice everyone is. I just loved it. So I was there a bit like I've got a bit of a soft spot for Newcastle, and it's a fantastic club with fantastic people. So it's one which I do hope can strike that balance between Bruce and this new coach by the sound of things, because you are playing more attractive football and you do stay in the division, because as a club Newcastle is one which has which if it has the solid foundations can progress forward again, and it can try and you can try and go back for those European spots. You can do that because of the way of the culture of the city, the culture of the club, pre Mike Ashley obviously. But I think the beauty of what you've got with Steve Bruce, and I know a lot of fans will disagree with me, but I like the romanticism of it. And it was the same with Lampard. You've got a Geordie boy at the helm. He loves Newcastle. And I see you're going. Yeah, okay, I've heard that.
Graham Jones is also a Geordie, by the way.
Well, there you go. So hopefully you got guys that will strike the balance and find the best for the club to progress and push forward. And that's a big thing, And I like the romanticism and I love the club. So if it grows and develops, it's a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I know a lot of Newcastle fans obviously want Steve Bruce out. We all do, but I want to win games. Like a lot of fans, I've seen fans wanting to tank games in order to get Steve Bruce out. Like I can't get behind that mentality. Like you should be competitive if you're in football as a fan or a player. I think you should be competitive. You shouldn't want to lose games for the benefit of others. I hate that, mate.
No, it's ridiculous. People are doing the same with Frank Lampard at the end. Why?
Why would you? How can you want to lose a game of football?
Exactly. It's like you see people, you hear and see it, and it's just like, do you know what? It's at that point. I go on Twitter, I see it, and I go,
yeah, I'll put you forward.
Turn it off, move on, and they're like, I'm gonna go watch the telly. I'm currently in the middle of Ashes to Ashes. Just finished Life on Mars. All right, I'm gonna stick on with that. Don't care about football. It's when people say that, it's just like it's just redundant, and it just goes to show that they're saying, oh, we only want it because it's what's best for the club. No, what's best for the club is to win games of football, and then to continue 100%. To do that. Steve Bruce, might not be everyone's cup of tea, and I think I still think what Mike Ashley was stupid to spend 40 million on a centre forward. Instead of giving Rafa Benitez the budget when he wanted it, because of how well Rafa did with you lot was ridiculous. So look, I think it's an interesting one. I think I think the main question is there a better candidate out there for you guys? Like, do you look at Newcastle? Okay, is there someone who's going to come in and change that and fix it straight away? And that there isn't. You know, Rafa says he's not going to come back as long as Mike Ashley's still there. I mean, Frank Lampard obviously just been sacked. I don't think he'd go. I mean, who else is
Eddie Howe's the fan favourite.
No, the thing with Eddie Howe is I look at Eddie Howe. He's the man. He's the sort of coach where he's like Kirbishley when he was at Charlton. You know, they do really well at that one gaff, and then after that, like, nah, don't work anywhere else. I think, I don't think Eddie Howe will be the right fit for you guys. He play attractive football, which I mean, I saw a few weeks ago that True Geordie was talking about, obviously saying like, you know, you guys aren't a team that contends for trophies. So maybe it's just a case of you just want to see some nice football. But then the problem is if you're seeing nice football, which you are at the minute, but you're not winning games.
Well, we'll stay in the league,
it's finding that fine balance. And I think the biggest thing, look, as this is an outsider looking in, I don't think Steve Bruce is the man to take Newcastle forward. Like I said, I like the romanticism. I think it's a great concept. But if he does, he needs to find the balance between solid defensive play and then allowing this Jones fella to allow the expansive football further up the pitch as part of his coaching stuff. But, you know, that's all comes down to Bruce and how he manages it, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, like the teams around us on like the other end of the balance. So we're on one scale, like not playing the good football, but getting the results. But then there's the likes of like Brighton and Fulham, who are actually quite like, I think Parker and Potter are playing some good football. They've got players that are playing for the club, playing for the manager. And they've got an identity that we don't have, but they're not getting the results. That's why they're down the bottom. That's why Fulham are probably going to get relegated. I think along with us, Brighton will probably be okay. But what would you prefer, to play well and lose, or play shit and win? Like it's an awful balance, isn't it? Like where would you rather be?
I'm a Chelsea fan. We won trophies playing shit and winning 1-0. You know, would you rather win 1-0, park the bus for 90 minutes and win league titles, or would you rather play well and get relegated? Anyone who says we'd play well and get relegated, you're a bloody lunatic. I respect you. You know, fair play if that's what you actually think. But you know, for me, I'm there like I'd rather play shit and win games. You know, if it means that we could progress and go forward, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's obviously I'd love to see attractive football, but it's, you know, get results. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Talking of winning trophies, I remember one season you had, and you mentioned him before, Antonio Conte. He played some pretty good football under Conte. One of his key players was Marcus Alonso, who's just been dug from the dirt. Where has that come from, and why now? Because he fucking loves the game against Newcastle. As an ex-Sunderland player, he always turns up against Newcastle. Do you think he'll keep his place, or will he keep £50 million signing that replaced him on the bench?
I think it really depends on how Tuchel thinks about this game, because the thing with Thomas Tuchel is he's openly said in some cases. So, for example, the Burnley game, he started Marcus Alonso because of height defensively. I think it's a load of bollocks. I think Alonso's shy.
I've never heard that one before. For a wing back, anyway.
Oh, mate, this is the thing. Like that Burnley game, I thought he played poorly, and people would I put that out there on Twitter, and I got absolutely done in. I had to put my phone down. I was like, it's not worth it. He can't defend to save his life. People will say he didn't have anything to defend that game. They might not have had a shot, but every single time they got into our third, they went down his side. And he'd do this thing. Say this was a defender, right? Or this was the attacker. I'm Marcus Alonso. He'd do that and then put his hand up asking for a foul. And then they'd be over here. It's like, what? Just chase them. Just get the ball and then get the foul. I don't care. It drives me balmy. But he scores a worldie, and then that saves his career. Only reason he's still in a Chelsea shirt. Wing back, fine. He's got the cover, but you still need to defend. And I think in a game like this, it can go one of two ways against you guys. We either absolutely turn you over, which has happened on a few occasions over the past few years, or you do us. You know, and it's it makes me worried because I'm there a bit like it's going to go one or two ways. And Marcus Alonso is not someone I would pick. He wouldn't be at Chelsea if I was still the coach. You know, Lampard throws these players out because he didn't want to use them. But obviously, Thomas Tuchel's the new coach. He came in first game, put in an experience, and in comes Marcos Alonso, Rudiger, you know, Jorginho, all these players that weren't getting as many minutes. And now, you know, we're in the position we're in. Jorginho probably plays well, but Marcos Alonso is probably going to start unless obviously we're recording this before the Barnsley game. So if he plays in Barnsley game, then maybe, you know, he might not. But I doubt. I think he will be the man which you'll be seeing on the left-hand side at wing back.
I haven't really seen many Chelsea games lately, to be honest. So I put this question out during the watch-along that we did on Saturday. Like, how is Tuchel doing? How are Chelsea doing since? And I heard quite a few people say that it's been a bit boring. Like, the style of play has just been a bit shit. Like, can you agree with that or elaborate on that?
I never wanted to put it out there because again, the platform is stupid. I
don't want the heat now.
I was like, I can't be bothered. Right, I'm just gonna watch the games, crack on, and yeah, it is boring. But like I said, you know, we're winning games. For me, the issue comes into. Look, I think we've been very fortunate to watch Chelsea play some very attractive football under Frank Lampard in the first season. I thought it was fantastic football. For me, I'm like you said with Conte, he played good football. I'm much more of a fan of effective football. You know, I think if you're getting it from A to B rather from A to Q to W to Z to B to Timbuktu back to B to Z, it's like I just get it from there to there. Job done. Move forward. Hit on the counter. That is, I love that type of football. But I think the thing is we've had a lot of the possession. But I think the problem that Chelsea have had is in the midfield in the double pivot. We've not had as much impetus going forward because we're playing both Jorginho and Kovacic. Now, they're both guys that love to distribute the ball, but they only really pass it forward if it's very safe. We've had to rely heavily on Mason Mount in some games and Callum Hudson-Odoi to sort of just open up the team and just allow us to press and push forward. And I think that has been something which it's been on my mind. It's not been great football, but I mean, like I said, it's early days. You know, from what I understand, speaking to Mainz fans, speaking to Borussia Dortmund fans, PSG fans, you know, we've got a coach here who, the football might be a bit boring at first, but once he gets his feet under the table and molds the team that he has, we're much more likely to potentially see some very free flying, very attacking, very stylish football. But again, 18 months he'll have to do that in because it's Chelsea Football Club. So we'll have to see what happens. But look, the main thing is, like I said earlier, we're getting the results. As long as we're getting the results, we move forward and we keep winning games. We put pressure on Liverpool. We put pressure on the top four. So look, I think at the end of the day, like I said, the style of play might be boring, but we're winning. So boo-hoo. Boo-hoo to people.
Get the top four, get that Champions League. At least you've got that to look up to. We just look, can we survive? Like, we're not going to get top 10. We're not going to get anything out of it. It's just survive. Whereas you have, like, even if it's Europa League, but you'd obviously want to break that top four and get Champions League.
100%.
Yeah. So you've got a game tonight. You've got Barnsley in the cup. Sorry. There's a few doubts for Saturday. When are we playing? Monday. A few doubts for Monday. I forget what day. I don't even know what day it is today.
What's going on? I don't understand.
So Thiago Silva, Christian Pulisic, and Kai Havertz are all doubt, I believe. Have you had any update on them or anyone else expected
I know Thiago Silva's potentially going to be out to 3 to 4 weeks after the injury picked up. It's a muscular injury, so it's not like other ones where he could stick himself in a cryo chamber and get himself sorted. This is obviously one to repair. I think he'll come in probably and see and maybe make a difference, but not against you guys. So you're going to be running Andreas Christensen, Rudiger and Azpilicueta as your back three.
Yeah.
God. Listen, Christensen's looked better recently, but I'm still not completely sold. I just don't think he's a centre back in the Premier League. He's very technical. He'd do well in Spain or Italy or wherever, but in terms of the physicality, if Joelinton plays, he'll poke him and he'll fall over and start crying. But yeah, you got him. Christian Pulisic, I don't know. And Kai Havertz, I know he's out still. There was rumours that he'd be back for the Barnsley game, but then there's been no updates on him whatsoever. So it's kind of one with him where you just have to see the squad. But Pulisic's been in and out. He's been like Amy Winehouse going to rehab. So, he's been in and out all the time. It's that was a really, really bad joke. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. He might be available, he might not. It's like rolling the dice with Christian Pulisic. You don't know what's going to go on.
Yeah, we've had a bit update on our injury front today as well, with the 3 that went off the other day. Callum Wilson's the big one for us. He's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the bad one for us. Our main goal scorer, 10 goals this season. Fabian Shaw is going to be out for 8 weeks as well. After what looked like it was going to be a season-ending injury, it's only 8 weeks. So that's, I suppose, good news on him. 8 weeks is still quite a long time. But Manquillo also is going to be out for 8 weeks. But yeah, Wilson's the main one, 6 to 8 weeks.
Jeez, you've got 3 huge injuries there.
In the same game.
That's mad.
This is Steve Bruce. If you look at his history, other teams, like I was talking to an Aston Villa fan the other day, it's the same thing. Steve Bruce's career just repeats itself. Like, he's got a bad history with injuries. And we're just getting, like, with Graham Jones coming in, the style of play is looking better. So Maximin's come back. Ryan Fraser's come back. But now Wilson's out. It's just one thing after another.
Oh, God, you lot don't have any luck, do you?
We really don't.
It's...
Just when we're getting a good run, we'll lose our striker.
I mean, would it be solely relying on Joelinton again?
Well, maybe. Well, we're not really too sure. I'm going to put a lineup prediction out soon. But the way we've been playing lately, it's like Wilson's been playing on the right-hand side with Miguel Almiron as a false 9. So maybe we don't need to replace Wilson with a striker. I think maybe if Almiron's going to stay as a false 9, you could have Sir Maximin and Fraser on the outsides, which would work quite well. Or, yeah, we will look towards either Joelinton or Dwight Gale, maybe.
Let's see. How has the lad from the in-betweeners been going, by the way? Has he been all right? Is that in that false 9 position?
Oh, Almiron, it took us a second to work out what you meant there. Yeah, you know it is. He actually really has, because central is where he's best. Like, we haven't been playing him in his best position pretty much since he signed. He keeps getting put on the wing, but he's not a winger. He just runs into brick walls. Like, pace is all he's really got on the wing. Like, we'd like him to be a number 10. So as a false 9, it's almost the next best thing. And yeah, he's been absolutely great. Like, even before Graham Jones came in, we were on a run of 11 games without a win. And Almiron was probably one of the very, very few that could actually pick his head up at the end of the game and say, I tried. I played well. But yeah, the last few games, he really has been great. The last 5-6 games, 2 goals against Southampton. So yeah, he's doing well. Like, Callum Wilson, when I first seen it, I think it was the Everton game, Wilson playing on the right-hand side. I was like, what's this? It's like, why is our best striker playing as almost a fucking right winger? But now, to be fair, it's actually been working really, really well. And I think that's maybe the Graham Jones effect. That was his first game. 2-0 win away to a very good Everton side with Almiron in the middle, Wilson on the right. It's been working wonders, yeah.
Be interesting to see how that goes. I think, yeah, if you're coming at us with pace, that is going to be an issue, because we've not really had to deal with that yet. I mean, Tottenham, you had Vinicius Jr., or not Vinicius Jr., sorry, Carlos Vinicius. I mean, he might be called Vinicius Jr. as well, but
yeah, one of them.
Their Brazilian centre forward. He was slow. We didn't really have to deal with any pace against like Wolves. They weren't really trying to come at us at all. Burnley was Burnley, and Sheffield United, I think, were the only side where we've had to deal with a bit of pace properly. And obviously, we saw that with Ollie Burke. Within a minute, he was through on goal and he nearly scored. So I think if you guys literally run our back line, and if Almiron does that, then we could be in trouble. And well, Alan Saint-Maximin's just, you know, I'm going to mute him on Twitter this week because I'm so worried if he beat us, he's going to say something. Well, there's no ifs, he will. But yeah, I think yeah, if you come at us with pace, that could be a bit of an issue for us.
Yeah, hopefully so. With Sir Maximin and Almiron, we've got an abundance of pace there. But I was looking into some stats before this, and we've lost, in fact, every single of the last 8 games at Stamford Bridge. We haven't picked up as much as a point there since the 2011 2012 season when Papi Cissé decided just to become world class in one game.
And he didn't mean that at all. He did not mean that. I meant that. No, he did. It was my favourite thing was Didier Drogba on the touchline just going, did he mean that? Just looking. I think it was your manager at the time. I was Pardew, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I would have thought. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he tapped Pardew. He was like, did he mean that? Like they were both just like, what the hell just happened there?
I remember watching that game, and when he struck it, seemed to be like left, and I was thinking, what the fuck's he doing? This was like he was blasting it into the crowd, and then just curled and dipped. I was like, holy shit! What the fuck just happened?
That's one of the best goals I've ever seen. It's most aesthetically pleasing. I love those once. It was a bit random. Like he'll do that 100 times, and that's the only time he'll go in.
Because we were 1-0 up with an absolute brilliant goal from Cissé earlier on. People forget about his first goal because the second was so good, but the first one was an absolute raker as well. So it kind of looked like at the time he was just kind of looked like he was going to boot the ball out of play to waste time because it was very, very deep into the game. That's what I thought he was doing. I thought he was just kicking the ball out to waste time. Then I just decided to curl and dip in over Petr Cech. It's like, fucking hell. What a great goal. So yeah, we've only won 2 games at Stamford Bridge since '93 in all competitions, losing the last 8.
I'm not going to comment on that because this goes on the internet, and if we lose, it's going to be clipped up, and I don't particularly fancy being that guy. So yeah, I think the stats are in our favours, but. It doesn't matter. It comes down to the 90 minutes, and if we're playing well, you guys are playing well as well. It just comes down to the day, doesn't it? And who's going to be better? I don't know. It's a cliche, but you know what? It's a cliche because cliches are usually right. So I think it's going to be I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, it can go one or two ways against you guys. We either absolutely annihilate you, or you shit house it. So we'll have to see how the game goes.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good record at St James's Park. To be fair, we usually do quite well against you up here, but down there's a bit of a different story. You've already touched on the back 3. You've got Azpilicueta, Christensen, and Rudiger. Probably maybe what's he called, Marcus Alonso as well. So who fills in the rest of the team? Do you think?
So I think we'll be a bit more aggressive in terms of how we're playing. So I think it'll be, if we go with the 4 that we've said already, you'll have obviously Mendy in goal, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Christensen as your back 3, Alonso left wing back, Hudson-Odoi right wing back, and then you have Jorginho and Kovacic in midfield 2, and your front 3 will probably be, it depends. It'll be Timo Werner, I reckon. He hasn't been playing Hakim Ziyech, so it'll be interesting to see who he puts on the right. And I think he might go for a bit more presence in attack. So it'll either be Giroud or it'll be Tammy Abraham. But this is the thing: we've got so many options in that team. I couldn't tell you going forward what the front line will be because it's just so ridiculous in the amount of players that we have.
You have got the squad depth. Like, I'm extremely jealous. If you can afford to keep Hakim Ziyech on the bench, then you must be doing something right. We'll wrap up shortly, but a couple more things I want to touch on. You just mentioned Werner there that got us thinking. What's your thoughts on Timo Werner? Because he's been struggling, hasn't he?
So you can see in Timo Werner there is a very good centre forward. I think people putting him in the Morata category. Now, I think if you compare Morata and Timo Werner, Morata, he had a purple patch, but there wasn't actually a starting number 9 in there. You know, there's not a player you look at and you go, oh yeah, I'll have a bit of him. Like every single time you see him, he'd be like someone who's come off the bench. So Juventus, Real Madrid, wherever he'd been pre-hand as well, he was a guy that came off the bench and didn't start. Comes to Chelsea as the first choice, doesn't deliver. The difference between him and Timo Werner is, yes, they're both playing off the shoulder. Yes, they're both pacey. 1, Timo Werner can stay on side. 2, you can see that there is a killer in there. But the only thing that's stopping him is literally getting that goal. You know, I think as soon as he gets that goal, you will see a fantastic striker. I mean, look at him at the beginning of the season. He was top goal scorer for a period. You know, he's a very good player. And I think the problem was we just weren't playing to his strengths. You know, now that Thomas Tuchel's come in, I think you look at some games even pre-Thomas Tuchel, even Lampard's, the back end of Lampard's reign, you look at the game against Fulham, at the end of the game, he was playing as we were counter-attacking from a corner, and he was the outlet. And he literally went for a 1-2, got the ball played over the top, and he just missed an opportunity. But you see when you play to his strengths, like Giroud did in that previous game as well, him playing on the shoulder, trying to get him behind. He is someone who is just not falling for at the minute. But as soon as it does, he will be someone who delivers. I have every belief in Timo Werner, because you can see in the mentality as well. Again, Alvaro Morata, head would dip. He would just be throwing tantrums. He was petulant. It just drove me mad. Whereas you can see with Timo Werner, you've got a guy which is very determined and he wants to deliver. We got 2 assists in the last game. Yes, that's not his main role, but he's still, when he was asked at the end of the game, he was man of the match,
contributing.
Like, yeah, but even at the end of the match, he was like, "Oh, you got 2 assists. How do you feel about that?" I was like, "Yeah, it's great, but I'm a striker. I want to score."
Yeah.
So he still got that mentality there, and it wasn't. You could see sometimes you can hear it in the voice of a player. It's all very much a press release. You kind of roll your eyes. Oh, fucking hell, what's he even right now? Same stuff as always, because his PR's told him to do it. But you can see with Timo Werner that as a player, he does want to deliver. And I think when we play to his strengths, you will see a very different striker. It might not be this game, but within a year, I think Chelsea will find their feet. I think, look, it's the same with Kai Havertz, same with Hakim Ziyech, same with Ben Chilwell. We've bought a lot of players in key positions where we already had overload. Left back, you had Alonso, you had Emerson already. Looking to shift one or two, or one of them or both of them. One of them or both of them. Wow, that was disgusting. One of them or both of them in the transfer window. Didn't manage to do that. Ben Chilwell's coming into a heavily contested area. In terms of the front line, Mason Mount, Hudson-Odoi, you've already had players like that in there. Giroud, Tammy Abraham. We brought in Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz. I mean, my God, Pulisic as well. 8 players that were contending for a front 3. So we're looking at that going, okay, well, we have to find the formula that works. There are no duds in the players that we bought. People are very quick in football in general now, sort of to rush to it and say, "Oh, straight off the bat, these players they're duffs, they're rubbish, they're flops." Yeah. It's been half a season. A guy like Kai Havertz is 21.
Yeah,
he's 2 years younger than me. Like it's ridiculous. Touted as one of the best talents in Germany, and he's come abroad and he's lost because he's a new lad who's come to a completely different country. He understands the language, can't speak it the best. He's away from his family. It's in the middle of the pandemic. It's a completely different culture. He's not even been able to bed in because of the pandemic, which means that can't go out, can't go see things, can't do anything. So he's cooped up in a room. And we have to remember that these guys are humans as well. And Timo Werner's in the same situation. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting scenario to see what happens. I think even though none of the players that we signed are duds, I think there will be casualties in terms of from this window. Almost in a similar vein to Tottenham when they spent the Gareth Bale money, except we've spent it better. We didn't spend on Vlad Tirikesh. We brought in world-class players. But we just need to find that winning formula. And as soon as the penny drops, Chelsea will fly out the blocks. But it's going to take time. You can't basically buy an entirely new 11 and expect it to work straight away. This ain't FIFA. And it just some people just can't seem to grasp that. And I just realised I've gone off on a massive ramble. Very sorry. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Brilliant. That's why we love you, Louis. I know you like to elaborate. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like I know it's like it's a work in progress. Like there's plenty to do, especially with the change in manager now as well. It may also look like a setback. Like you have to like start again almost. But yeah, we'll just finish off. I know you didn't want to say it, but I want to prod you for a score prediction.
You know,
give us one, Louis.
Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I'm gonna heads or tails it. Let me just get a coin.
Heads or tails?
Hang on. So, oh bollocks! There we go. Right. Oh shit! Ow!
Come on, Louis.
I've got a little. That really hurt. I've got this little model dog that hangs off my fridge, like a little magnet thing, and it had already broken off, and the sharp bit of it's just dug into me foot.
Nice.
Right. Okay.
You're in jet for Monday.
So that's right. This, for those people that didn't know before 2020, this is called a coin. I don't know if people still use these anymore. They're these things where people would hand them to you. But I don't think. Then there's this thing called a virus. So people are, I don't want to give each other things. So that's what this is. It's 2p. So here we go. Right, heads or tails. I've got 2 predictions in my head. Right, heads. I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea.
Oof, big one. What was tails?
I don't know. I just kind of thought about it while I was in the air. Well, bluffed. I'm good at that.
You're full of shit.
Yeah, I've got to be full of something, haven't
I? Cheers, Louis. We'll wrap that up there then. Appreciate you coming on as always, mate. Always enjoy your chat.
Thanks for having me, man.
Not a problem, mate. Right, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. The link to Louis' channel will be in the description below. Make sure to go and check that out.
Can't wait to get on there. That'd be fun.
Yes, I'll be on there tomorrow as well, where we'll be chatting a little bit more shit.
Yeah, fun times.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe, and come back on Monday for the live watch along. And enjoy yourself.